Hey guys, it's Faye from SolarFlow and I am back with an all new video. Today's topic is a deep dive behind the veil energy read into our guides, our guardian angels, and our higher self. Because while they are all related to us, they work with us and sometimes in fact even work for us in very different ways. So if this sounds like an interesting topic to you, please stick around, and if not, I will catch you at another video. Now, even though you will notice that there are timestamps down below, I'm going to request that you watch this video all the way through, even if it is not in one sitting. And here's why. I have been directed by my guides to share the information in this particular order because we are starting with the energy that is closest to us, and then we are proceeding to explore the energies that are further away from us. So even though, as I always like to tell you guys, free will reigns supreme, and it is absolutely your free will to watch the segments in any order that you wish to, or not even at all, it's also my free will as the content creator to ask that you do watch it all the way through, because if you do, it's going to make more sense and it's going to resonate a little bit more deeply than if you watch it just haphazard in any order. But again, as I always like to say, you do you, boo.
Okay, good.
Once again, divine timing with the universe adding an exclamation mark to whatever it is that I am sharing with you guys. All right, so with that in mind, let's dive in. So, because I had just said we're going to start with the energy that is closest to us and then move away from it, we are first going to start with our higher self. So here we go. What is our higher self? Our higher self is exactly what it sounds like. It's our higher self. But in fact, it is so much more than just our higher self, because it is the highest part of ourself, and it is the most divine part of ourself as well. And it is the most divine part of ourself because it is the portion of our soul that resides in energetic escrow with God at all times. Now, imagine if you, and by the way, here's the thing, guys. If you like the videos where I share a lot of examples, you're gonna love this one because it's chock full of examples. And here's the very, very first one. So imagine, if you will, a candle. In fact, let's pretend my pen is a candle. So you can take one candle, and with that one candle, you can light any number of subsequent candles thereafter, but the light of that one original candle doesn't go out just because it's lighting all of those other candles. No. So look at our highest self, the most divine portion of ourself, as being that one original candle. And from that one original candle, all of the other candles are lit from. It's the same thing with our higher self. It's the one original candle that resides in energetic escrow with God that is lighting the light of all of our future incarnations. Now, in case you are wondering, this is also going to explain why, if you have a loved one that has crossed over prior to yourself crossing over, and they choose to reincarnate before we cross over, when you do cross out of your body, you will still get to see your loved one on the other side, even if they have chosen to reincarnate. Because I remind you, the origin point, the first candle that has lit all of those other candles, resides in energetic escrow with God. So look at it this way. The loved one that you lost prior to crossing out of your own body is you will see the origin candle from which they were lit into the next incarnation. So we will never miss out on seeing a loved one when we cross over, even if they have reincarnated again, because that one original candle has just lit another candle subsequently thereafter. So that original candle, if you will, is the origin soul, or the part of our soul that all of our future incarnations are lit from. But that origin soul also resides in energetic escrow with God at all times. And because they reside, or because that portion of ourself actually resides with God at all times, it has the most elevated vantage point and view of what we are experiencing in any particular lifetime, without any obstruction or without being veiled at all. So here's two more examples I'm going to give to you to help illustrate the point of our higher self. The first one is, imagine, if you will, you are a private marching in an army, and you happen to be right now marching in a valley. So because you are marching in that valley, you have a limited vantage point of what you can see that is around you. You're literally in the lowest point of a valley. All you can see is what's around you, and it's probably at a slightly elevated vantage point. But now imagine there's a lieutenant, and the lieutenant is residing at the top of the mountain that you guys are walking through in the valley. That lieutenant has a higher, more elevated vantage point, and even if he stood in one spot and he turned around in a circle, he might have 360-degree views of everything that's around him, but he's still going to be limited in what he can see because he can only stand in one spot. So look at it when you are, let's say, having your hardest day, or when you're not the most highly aligned version of yourself. You might be the private that is in the valley. But when you are like high vibe and you are more in alignment, you're going to be the lieutenant that's standing at the top of a mountain point. But your higher self would be akin to a general. And the general is in a helicopter. And the general, therefore, has unparalleled views of everything that's around him because he can move in the helicopter. So he's not only going to see what's going on in this valley, he's going to see what's going on in that valley. And he's not only going to see what the lieutenant sees at the top of that mountain, he can fly around and he can see what's going on at all those mountaintops. So the highest part of yourself also has a unparalleled view of what is going on in past lifetimes as well. Just like it's the origin candle from which all of these other candles were also lit, it has the unparalleled views of all of those other candles and all of those other lifetimes as well. Now, in addition to that, also look at it this way. So your higher self is the general in the helicopter. It has unparalleled views of everything, this lifetime, past lifetimes. Now imagine, if you will, you go into a theme park, and there's a great number of roller coasters that you can choose to go on. And maybe before you went into that theme park, you decided kind of like which ones you wanted to go on and in what order. You curated the experience that you were going to have at that theme park. And then you also decide that at some point you're going to go into the fun house. Maybe you decided that you didn't want to curate the experience, you just kind of wanted to wing it. So you're going to go and you're going to check out like what the line situation is like on all of those rides, and then whatever line you can get on first, you're just going to go on with reckless abandon. Now, some of those roller coasters, maybe they're going to be euphoric. Maybe some of them are going to be a little bit scary. Maybe there's the one that you go right back up and then it just drops you right back down. Maybe there's some of them that are more akin to like the waves of the ocean. Maybe there's a roller coaster that part of it is indoors and it seems like you can't see anything. It's completely blacked out. So you got the roller coasters that are going to maybe turn you upside down and inside out. Maybe you're even going to get sick after you go on a couple of them. Maybe some of them are going to seem like they're really, really gnarly. And then you go into the fun house. And the fun house includes mirrors. And all those mirrors are designed to mess with your perception of the way in which you see yourself. Some of them maybe make you look like you're very, very tall. Some of them make you look like you're wide. Some of them make you look like you're a mosaic or a Picasso and you have 15 ears and 13 eyes. So it really messes with your perception. And then in addition to the mirrors, you also have the smoke. So look at the smoke as if it's the veil. Look at the roller coasters, and if you have chosen what you wanted to go on in one order prior to getting there, as you curating your life experiences that you are going to have in any particular incarnation. Soul contracts. And you think when you get into that fun house and you're veiled, or you look into the mirror and you see a reflection, you overly identify and you think that what you're looking at in the fun house mirror is you. Because that's what our experiences here on earth can actually be like when we incarnate into any particular incarnation. Our memory is wiped in between lifetimes, so that way we go into our soul contracts and our lessons with reckless abandon. We forget that we're a soul and we're not a body, and we think that the experiences that we have are just throwing us around and they're completely random. It's identifying with the experiences we have in the theme park, but forgetting that they're all temporary. But the highest version of ourself, again, being the general in the helicopter, the highest version of ourself is unflappable, and it knows none of that is real. So it would be akin, when you're communing with the highest version of yourself, to going into the theme park on the day when none of the roller coasters work. You can't even go on them. And it would be like going into the fun house with a pair of sunglasses that would make you immune to seeing the distortion of your reflection in the mirror. That is our highest self. It has the most unparalleled and unobstructed view of us. And through it all, through the obfuscation of our appearance in the funhouse mirror, through the smoke that veils us from our purpose and our meaning and the fact that we've been here many times before, and going on those roller coasters that may in fact even also include getting sick or being sick in any particular incarnation, through it all, our higher self is a constant. And our higher self sees us for who we really and truly are, because they are us, the most highly aligned and divine portion of us. Now, in addition to that, because it is the most highly aligned and divine portion of us, this is also a good way when you are in meditation to start to learn and differentiate the voice in which you yourself would speak to yourself, in which the highest version of yourself would. And this is for a couple of reasons. First of all, because this is the highest version of ourself and it resides with God and there is nothing but love on the other side. The highest version of yourself is never going to tell you, put down the remote, put down the bag of the Doritos and go to the gym. Your highest version of yourself sees you as you truly are, without the obfuscation of all the 3D material things that comprise the human experience as well. Now, in addition to that, the highest version of ourself is not egocentric, because even though it is us, it is not uncommon to hear the highest version of yourself not actually refer to you or refer to yourself as I. Because even though it is you and you are it, we're still separated, because we live on the 3D material realm and we have 3D bodies, and the highest version of ourselves is nothing but pure energy, and it resides in the divine realm with God. But in addition to that, our thoughts are egocentric. So when we might be thinking about something in meditation, we might be thinking I, or me. Those are egocentric thoughts, and it's a way of identifying ourselves. But it's not uncommon for our higher self to actually speak to us as you. So that's number one. That's one way in which you can differentiate when you're in meditation. What are you actually tuning into? Is it saying I, me? Are we thinking about it as ourselves? Or is there some sort of a separation where it's actually referring to us as you, even though it's us? Because again, we're in different realms. But in addition to that, because there is nothing but love on the other side, and the highest version of ourselves sees us in the most beautiful divine light, and without any obfuscation in terms of our 3D material experiences. Therefore, the highest version is going to speak to us far more kindly than we might speak to ourselves, for example. And that's why I brought up the example a moment ago. Like, our higher self is not going to say, like, put down the remote, go for a walk instead. Put down the Doritos and have some fucking carrots. Your higher self doesn't care about that. Your higher self just loves you. So if you are in meditation and you hear some kind of like judgmental buzziness in your mind, or if you hear I, or me, like I'm such a fucking hot mess, guess what, girl? Guess what, boy? That's you. Those are your internal thoughts. That is not your higher self. So pay attention to the thoughts that you have going on in your mind, whether you are in meditation or not in meditation, because that is the best way to begin to discern your own thoughts from the voice of your higher self. Because again, your higher self is the most highly aligned, divine portion of yourself. That is what I have for you. Thank you, universe, for punctuating with an exclamation mark, our higher self. Now, the next topic that we are going to look into as we start to differentiate and move away from the entities and the energies that are closest to ourselves is our guardian angels. What are they? What purpose do they serve? Can they work for us? Here we go. What are our guardian angels? Why do we have them? And how many are there? So each person has an average of 2 guardian angels. However, we sometimes have more. More on that later. But each person has a minimum of 2 guardian angels that are contracted to them at the time of their birth. And the way it was shown to me is, and for any of my viewers out there that are a mama, you know when you were maybe in your in the delivery room getting ready to bring your baby into the world. Sometimes the delivery room could be a bit of a party. So maybe you have your partner with you, maybe you have a doula, maybe you have a midwife, you have a doctor, you probably have some other nurses. It's a party in there. Those are just the 3D bodies that we can see. Because what was actually shown to me is prior to any new soul coming into the world by way of their mother, which is the portal from one realm into another realm, you have at the head of the bed is the two guardian angels that belong to the mama. In addition to that, standing around, let's say, the abdominal region of the mother on either side are the guardian angels of your child as they are being born, and for you yourself when you are being born as well. Because your guardian angels are contracted to you from the time of your birth, and they stay with you through the entirety of your lifetime. And then when you are getting ready to cross over, guess what? You don't cross over alone. Your guardian angels are walking with you, and they are crossing you over to the other side as well. So the delivery room is like, it's just a fucking party. It's with 3D material bodies, but there's also a lot of divine entities in a delivery room as well. Because think about it, it's the guardian angels of the mama, maybe her partner, it's the doctors, it's seriously, it's like a divine party in there as well. So the guardian angels, because they are contracted to us at birth, They are standing beside the bedside at a mother's abdominal region when she is in labor. So they are literally right there welcoming the new soul into the world, and they are with them from the time of their birth. And yes, they will stay with you until the time that you cross over, and then they will walk you across to the other side. Now, they will also stay with you through the entirety of your life unless you send one of them out as an emissary on your behalf, but more on the emissary bit coming up ahead. Now, they, your guardian angels, are in some regards the closest relationship you do not even know that you have. Because again, they have been with you from the time of your birth, and they will stay with you. They're contracted to you. They will stay with you and walk you through when you exit your body. So they are with you when you are a child and you fall down and you skin your knee. They are with you when you experience your first love, your first heartbreak, when you welcome your first child into the world, when you walk your children down the aisle, and then they walk you and cross you through to the other side. So they really are the closest relationship we never even knew we had. And because of that, we are in fact never alone, because they are always with us and they are relatively close to us as well. Now, the younger we are, the closer they are to us. And that's because if you have kids, you know, your kid could be like 10 seconds away, especially when they're really young, from like a catastrophe. You take them to the playground, they fall down, and it's like, oh my God. So the younger you are, the closer your guardian angels actually are to you. So for littles, they can be anywhere from 2 to 8, or maybe, I would say 2 to 8 inches away from little kids. But as we get older, and especially if we ourselves need more space, they will give us more space. So when we are adults, they can be anywhere from 2 to 6 feet away from us at any given time. Now, what was also shown to me is if you are driving alone in your car, they're kind of like the passengers in your car that you don't know you have. When you're driving alone in your car, they will sit in the back seat behind you. They do not sit in the they sit in the back row. They will not sit in the passenger seat next to you. And the reason for that is, guess what? Guess the fuck what, guys? If you have a loved one that has crossed over, your loved one may actually choose to stay on as a bonus guardian angel for you, or sometimes they like to actually come and visit with us. So they will sit in our passenger seat when we are driving, and they drive shotgun, if you will. Your guardian angels go and they sit in the back of the car. Now, what was also shown to me, this is kind of cool. I love demonstrations, so I'm going to give you demonstrations. So, and I also have a notebook with pictures as well. I bet you didn't know this video was going to come with additional bonuses and goodies. Now, if you are in an airplane, where the fuck do all of the guardian angels go, right? Here's where. Your guardian angels can actually compress, and they can become smaller. So what was shown to me is they will become akin to the size of this ball here. This is maybe about, I would say, 2 to 3 inches in diameter. So your guardian angels will be compressed to being about this size. And when you're in an airplane, all of the guardian angels kind of like reside over the passenger's head. Now, this is a cool thing. I actually really love this ball for this reason. In case you're also wondering what your guardian angels look like, it has been shown to me as well. I'm going to show you 2 different images so you can kind of understand what I'm going for here. So you're going to get to enjoy my wonderful artwork here. So I want you to look at this picture here. This is a picture of a stick figure. And you see how I have all of these lines coming out around the stick figure? Now I'm going to turn to the second illustration that I had made, because when our guardian angels were shown to me as, take the stick figure or take the representation of the person out of it, and all they were shown to me as is pure light around the essence of the, so kind of like imagine if you were wearing like a woolly mammoth coat, and you had fur that was sticking out all around you. But now take yourself out of it and just have the representation of the coat. Because when guardian angels have been shown to me in the past, all I see is the outline of them. I see, and it's for the most part, it was shown to me as being golden, like if you will, sparks of light, and sometimes like gold, or sometimes even like metallic-y kind of a silver. So I really tried to get that with this picture here. So you don't actually, or I actually, when it was shown to me, I didn't actually see the figure of the guardian angel in it. All I had seen is the sparks of light all around it. Now that's going to bring me back to this ball and why I actually love this ball so much, because if you, I don't know if you can see it. You see how it's flashing red and blue? So I want you to imagine, if you will, that it's the same thing when you have your guardian angels in the airplane and they have been compressed and they're like this ball. Here, let me tap it again. So your guardian, I don't know if you can see it with the glare of the ring light on it, but imagine, if you will, when you're on an airplane and your guardian angel has been compressed to being the size of this ball. There is literally a ball about this height, hover, and it's not something that people will see with their 3D eyes, because it's energy. It's not a 3D material person, but you would see, or the way it was shown to me that I was seeing it, is your guardian angel is compressed when you're on an airplane. It's about the diameter of this ball, but it's pure light, and it's gold, like sparks of gold, and they're all emanating above people's heads. Let's say, for example, if you're in a car full of people, or if you're on an airplane, because your guardian angels are always with you. They do not leave your side, not even when you're traveling in an airplane, not when you're traveling on a boat, not when you're on a bicycle, not when you're on a motorcycle, not when you travel to space. Your guardian angels are contracted to you from the time of your birth, and they stay with you until the time that you cross over. Let's see what else I got for you here. So yes, when you are in an airplane, they become condensed balls of pure energy that hang out around our head, or sometimes they might even just kind of like reside behind you, behind your shoulders. They will never leave us hanging, but here's the thing about them. They will also never interfere with our life or any of our decisions, nor do they ever cast judgment on us. So if you have a weird thing that you like to do when you are alone, they will not judge you for it. Kind of look at your guardian angels like the higher version of yourself when it goes into the funhouse and it puts on the goggles, and therefore it doesn't see the obstruction of the reflection. Your guardian angels don't look at you with any level of judgment, and they don't look at the things that you do and they're like, wow, this fucking person I'm contracted to, they're so fucking weird. How did I end up with? No, they don't think that way. So any weird thing that you do when you were alone, they don't care. They also are not gonna like look at your body and be like, geez, this person like needs to get off the fucking sofa and like, Karen, get off the sofa and go to the gym. No, they don't care. It doesn't faze them one bit, and nothing that we even do is weird to them, because even though they hang out with us in the 3D material realm, they are immune to the energy here. And they feel nothing but love for us. And nothing but love for us and what we ourselves are enduring here. And that is because our guardian angels, they were once people like we are now currently people. So they know what the experiences are like for us here on the 3D plane, and they know that we're in the thick of it, and they know how hard it is for us. Therefore, they have nothing but love for us. Now, your guardian angels can also be the souls of loved ones that have previously crossed over and that have chosen to stay on as part of our vibe tribe on the other side. And because they are a soul that used to be alive, they know exactly what it feels to be in the thick of the 3D energy that is akin to trying to navigate the world in quicksand. Therefore, they are very sympathetic to us and our experiences, and they love us fiercely because we are still in the thick of it. This, too, is why they would never judge us for our choices, as we are all doing the best we can with the information we have at any given time, and therefore they are so proud of us for it. Look at your guardian angels as a combination of a bodyguard and a cheerleader. Now, in case you were wondering, why do we have them at all? Here's why. There are a lot of souls that hang out near and around the earth plane that have decided not to move on from here and to go explore the other parts of the universe. But they remember what the human experience is like, and even though they themselves have completed their reincarnation loop and are free to move on, they in fact choose to stay here and be in service to humanity. Because the earth plane is gnarly and can be really fucking gritty. So it's nice to know that we are not doing it alone. Now, here's another question. Does everybody have a guardian angel? Yes, absolutely. At least 2, if not more, as in a loved one or ancestors that have requested to stay on as a bonus one. Now, we can also, do you remember I had said that we can send our guardian angels out to do like emissary work for us on our behalf? We can give our guardian angels tasks to do for us, and this is where they're acting as an emissary on our behalf. But keep in mind, even if you try to send out 2 at a time, 1 will always stay with you because you are never left alone by your guardian angels. One of them is always going to be with you. So keep in mind, even if you try to task both of them, you will never be entirely left alone. So maybe just send one of them out at a time, because if you are trying to send them out to do emissary work on your behalf and you're trying to send out both of them, one of them is still going to stay. So maybe kind of like decide what is the most important thing that I want to send them out to do. Send only one of them out and keep one of them with you, because you're never going to be left alone in your entirety. Now, what was also shown to me is that even though we all have 2 that are contracted to be with us at all times, and we can have bonus ones by way of loved ones that have crossed over, that have decided to stay with us. In addition to that, if you are going through a particularly hard time, a bonus or specialty guardian angel may come in to support you during that time as well. So let's say like somebody, maybe you lose like a loved one and it's very unexpected. So in the 3D material world, we might be like, I'm going to go see like a bereavement counselor. So just like we could see a bereavement counselor in our 3D experience, you might have a guardian angel that like specializes in bereavement energy healing. So a specialty one will come on to support you at any given time if you need a little extra support or love or a little something, depending on an experience that you yourself are going through. So while the same 2 are always with you and contracted to you, on some occasions they may step away temporarily to allow different energy to come in when you are in a time of need. Now, in addition to that, we can also call on them at any time to provide comfort to us, as well as special protection if we ourselves do not feel safe. And if you are very sensitive, you may even in fact feel them around you, and you can also ask to be shown them. So I had been asked to see my guardian angels, and that is how I was shown this. This is how I got to see what they look like, because I asked to see mine. And I also saw where they reside in relative to where I am. I was shown where they reside to me. For me personally, they're about 6 feet away from me. I guess I just need space, even from my guardian angels. So they give me a little bit, they give me like a slightly wider berth. And it's also probably also because I'm so sensitive to like energy that I do kind of need actually space. But yes, they were shown to me again, as I had said before, for adults on average 2 to 6 feet away, maybe a little bit more. And if you're wondering where they are when you sleep, guess the fuck what, guys, you are not alone. So they were shown to me as either being like, let's say on either side of your bed, like where your pillows are, or if you're somebody that also needs space, they might be kind of like chilling out by like the foot of your bed. We're really never really, honestly, we're never really alone. They really are the closest relationship we don't even know that we have. Now, also, I'm going to just drive this point home and remind you guys, they do not judge us and they only want what is best for us. But despite wanting what is best for us, they cannot interfere, nor get between us and a soul contract, nor a soul lesson. But they will be there with us as we go through those soul contracts or those soul lessons. And again, if we're going through something particularly gnarly, a bonus one may come in to kind of like infuse us with a particular kind of energy to help us navigate it. But they cannot interfere, nor can they do anything that will subvert another's free will, even if it is a task that we send them out to do on our behalf. So if we perhaps make a request of one of our guardian angels to make our cute crush fall in love with us, that is simply outside the scope of their duties, because that would be subverting the free will of another. So again, they are a combination of a bodyguard and a cheerleader, no more, no less. So if you have a crush, they may not be able to go over and like whisper in the ear. They're not playing Cupid. They're not like whispering in your crush's ear, like, check out that cute girl over there. But if you go up to your crush and you start talking to your crush, they are going to be cheering you on from the sidelines. So they are a combination of bodyguard and cheerleader, no more, no less, and they will not carry our energetic baggage for us either. But they will be there with us when and if we are ready to unpack it. So that is what I have for you on our guardian angels. We are next going to move on to the guides. And guys, if you have been here for a while, you know that I say that my guides are like my Google and my guides always bring the goods. And if you want to come to find out why, this segment is for you. Here we go. Who are our guides and do they always bring the goods? Okay, so our guides were shown to me as being here to serve, again, thank you, universe, to serve us, all of us, and they exist all around the globe and are like a beacon of light in the dark. They are like an antenna with consciousness, universal consciousness, bouncing off of them, between them, and connecting them like satellites that are connecting the information that is transported between all of the satellites. However, in this case, the information that is being transported is not, let's say, traffic flow or directions for GPS, but it is universal truths or I should say, information designed to raise consciousness as they are sprinkled all around the globe, and in part to hold the vibration at a certain frequency, because many of them are high vibe. And because they act as an antenna, right? They're kind of like satellites, and what is being bounced and transmitted between all of those satellites is universal consciousness and universal truths. And it's for anyone to connect to and anyone to pick up on. They act as an antenna for anybody to pick up on the messages that they are sharing. So in theory, anything that anyone would need to do to tune into them is to connect to the vibration or frequency that they are on. I'm going to talk more about that in a moment, but I'm also going to say, because I'm going to remind you that because everything is a vibration, the higher our particular vibration is, the easier it would be to connect perhaps to them. So if you feel like your connection to your guides are a little bit spotty, guess what, guys? The solution is raise your vibration so that way you can more easily connect to the guides. Now, here's an interesting thing about our guides as well. Because as I always share with you guys, energy is everything. It very much pertains to the way in which we connect to the guides as well. Because I have been asked on a number of occasions by you guys, how is it possible for a psychic or maybe even a tarot reader or an energy reader, how are they connecting to what appears to be a darker energy? And that is because, again, energy is everything, including the material or the information that one can access via the guides, because the guides are transmitting universal truths. Not all truths are high vibration. Now, I'm going to take it into the 3D material plane for a moment before I take it back to the guides, because if you look at Google, one could say Google is the 3D material version of our guides. And as I always say, if somebody wants to find trouble on the internet, you'll find it. It's the same thing with the guides, but it's not where you're going into a browser and you're searching something that you're looking for. What you're actually going to be able to connect to via the guides is a similar vibration to what one person they themselves are. This is going to explain why a psychic could perhaps, or an energy reader, could connect to a low vibe information. Because it's information, it's not good, it's not bad, it just is. It's we ourselves that are assigning any level of meaning to it. We're just going to connect to the information or the universal truth that is being transmitted via the guides because it's of a similar or complementary vibration to what we ourselves are. So just like I had said a moment ago, if you feel like you're having a hard time connecting to the guides, raise your vibration. It's the same thing here. If you're connecting to the guides and you don't necessarily like what you're accessing from them, raise your vibration, and then it's going to change the vibration of the universal truth that you yourself are able to connect to. Because we are going to tap into a vibe that is of a complementary nature to us ourselves. Thus, a psychic can tune into the darker universal truths because that's out there true. It's not all rainbows, butterflies, and unicorns. There's dark shit out there in the world as well. So it is a bit like the World Wide Web, but this is on an energetic or vibrational nature because it's all available and it's all out there. But in this case, nobody has to type what it is that they're looking for because their vibration is actually going to curate the information that comes into them. This is why there is no wrong nor right to when it comes to our guides, as they are simply reflecting back to us that which we are a vibrational match for. Now, another question had come in where somebody had once asked me, how is it that I'm able to connect to celebrities' energy so quickly? And in part, that is due to the fact that celebrities are more energetically porous, and in some regards, they are used to living their life more open and more out there because they are allowing, let's say, news organizations to come into their home and take pictures of it and interview them, and they're always doing interviews on the red carpet. So they are more energetically open and porous. And of course, if somebody is, not everybody, but some people go into the industry because they actually like the attention. So if an energy reader comes to them, yeah, sure, they would also be more inclined to open up, but that's not the only reason why. Because as I had said, our vibe will match us to a complementary kind of bit of information that is coming in. So that is akin to my vibration is being tuned into that of a channel or so-called frequency that is more, let's say, celebrity oriented. So kind of like look at it like my satellite or the satellite that my energy is tuned into is maybe more of a satellite or a frequency that is a celebrity oriented one. So therefore it is easier for me to connect to the guides that are transmitting the information on celebrities back to me. And that is regardless of how far away that particular satellite or that particular guide actually is. And it's because I am so used to tuning in to that one particular frequency that it's much easier for me to actually connect to it at any given time. Now this too is also going to further expand on why psychics or energy readers can connect to dark entities or dark energies. Because look at it this way, the longer somebody spends looking into dark subjects, the easier then subsequently it would be for them to connect to it. And thus it can subtly start to change them as well. So essentially, this would be akin to the expression, the longer someone stares into darkness, it starts to stare back at them as well. And it starts to stare back at them because they are a vibrational match for that darkness. Because again, like I may be connecting to the satellite or the guide that is transmitting information on celebrities. Somebody may be spending a lot of time tuning into the darker energies, and then thus, therefore, they are subtly changed by it and they become more of a vibrational match for it as well. So the guides are basically like one big ass radio frequency tuner. And just as with everything else that we talk about, vibration matters both personally as well as with working with the universal energy that is transmitted by the guides. Because they are just like satellites. They're transmitting the universal truths. And then our vibration is going to curate the experiences that we are going to connect to vis-a-vis the satellites and vis-a-vis our guides. Now, so when I say stay in the high vibration, you can perhaps really start to see why I mean it. And it is possible for a person to kind of, if you will, like develop a closer relationship with particular guides, because this is again akin to like, what's the vibration that I most frequently am connecting to? And again, I'm gonna, use the celebrities as an example because I do a fair amount of celebrity behind the veil energy reads. So let's say again, the guides that I myself might be connecting to are the satellite, that they're more transmitting the celebrity information. So anytime I sit down to meditate, it's kind of like my vibration goes there automatically and the guides are like, Faye's reaching out for us, let's tune her in, let's turn the satellite around so she can pick up on the information more quickly and more easily. So whatever it is of a universal truth or nature that you yourself want to look into, you can start to develop a closer relationship with certain guides or certain satellites where you're constantly requesting to connect to them, and therefore when you sit down to meditate and you go online, so to say, they're going to be picking up on your frequency more easily and they're going to be turning the satellite around so you can more easily access the information or the universal truths that are being transmitted in and around them. Now, in case you were wondering, why do the guides always bring the goods? Here's why. Simply put, the truth, all universal truths exist out there. And every action creates an imprint that lives on in the world outside of ourselves. So look at it this way. There's the Akashic records. And the Akashic records are, if you will, a photo album of every soul and all of their incarnations, and it's a record, but it's a photo record, if you will, of every action that that soul has ever committed in all of their lifetimes. So every lifetime gets their own photo album that resides in the Akashic records. But even outside of the Akashic records, look at it this way. What is being stored in the photo album in the Akashic records of every lifetime? Photographs. But even outside of the photographs, there exists in the world the negative from which that photo is developed. So all the information of everything that has ever been exists out there as the negative. Some of those negatives are turned into photographs that go into the Akashic record, but even if it doesn't, there's an imprint or the negative of that lives on outside of the Akashic records. So when we can learn to direct our focus on a satellite of information from what we ourselves desire, we can capture that negative. Now we can also ask our guides pointed and specific questions. And as they are transmitting all universal truths among themselves, off of the satellites and between themselves, any question that one can ask has been asked before, and likely thousands of times. What is the meaning of life? Why are we here? Are we alone? What's my purpose? What's my meaning? All of that has been asked, and more, and probably thousands of times. And as our guides are essentially the energetic version of the World Wide Web, they're the energetic version of the negatives that exist. So there are imprints of every action that has been committed, but in addition to that, there are negatives of all of the information that exists out there as well. This is why sometimes if you're in meditation and you ask to be shown something, you will literally see a picture of it in your mind because you are being shown the negative. Because sometimes when the guides communicate, they talk. Sometimes they show a negative, or sometimes they're bringing in something that's connected in some other foreign way as well. There is no one universal way in which the guides bring the goods. The fact is, they always bring the goods, but the methods in which they bring it can vary greatly depending on what satellite you are connecting to. But it is not uncommon to actually be shown a negative or to be shown a representation or a picture of what it is that you're asked to being shown. Now, this is also why when I do videos in which I'm looking into the energy around a person, I can see literally what was going on. The negative exists out there in the world. So again, anything that has ever transpired on a physical nature with a person's actions exist out there, as well as all questions, both about ourselves as well as the world at large. So yeah, when I say my guides are my Google, it's because it's the truth. And just like to use Google, we would all need a device of some kind, such as a computer or a laptop, a smartphone, etc. The way to tap into the universal truths of our energetic Google guides, anyone want to guess how? Is through meditation. And once we meditate, we all too can hear or see what they have to say. And if we want to make sure that we are highly aligned to a positive universal truth that is out there, I remind you to raise our vibration so that way we are matched and tuned in to the most high vibe universal truth as well. So that concludes today's video for you on our guides, our guardian angels, and our higher self. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video and found it to be insightful or perhaps even thought-provoking. I remind you to please take what resonates and to leave the rest behind. And maybe now also you'll really understand why I end every video by reminding you guys to stay in the high vibration.